Ahoy and welcome, this is Admiral. Here with a quick take on Battle for Greece now that it's been officially released for the common people such as you and I. I've already shared my first thoughts shortly after the announcements, so these are my second thoughts, in the literal chronological sense, and further observations now that the product is in hand. Now, I don't yet have that much to say about the DLC proper that isn't already obvious. Early access creators have already taken the past month to cover the new units, civilizations, and part of the campaign, and interested players will likely have already started the campaign as well. So it goes without saying that the new graphics, voice acting, and campaign are all looking very high effort and polished, which is a step or three up from the last DLC, especially on the graphics front. And I may eventually do a DLC review with a more comprehensive overview of the campaign and considerations of the value added by the DLC if I can find time for that in the near future.
Well, that's the real trick, isn't it?
But there's a lot of interesting material around the edges that hasn't gotten that much attention yet, including something new that I've previously featured as a hypothetical in one of my videos. So today I'll be covering new features and how creators can use some of these revolutionary new abilities, as well as what they may portend for future Chronicles expansions and DLCs for the base game. Before we continue, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, to give this channel the best chance to stay afloat on the stormy sea of skibbity, flotsam, cringeworthy clickbait, and AI abominations that haunt the depths of YouTube in 2024. Now, aside from the new Chronicles mode itself, understood among other things as an opportunity to focus in on different time periods, and experiment with new features and mechanics in modes discrete from the base game, I'd say the biggest game changer that comes with this update, whether or not you bought the DLC, is the addition of new mechanics that allow you to choose your own adventure in a variety of ways. Other creators have touched on this already with the civilization-specific mechanics and bonuses of being able to pay to toggle between different government policies that provide specific benefits, or make a one-time upgrade to your town center to double down on the competency of your choice. And you can make your own twists on this or add similar abilities to other civilizations through modding, as I did with my Tlaxcaltex mod by allowing you to individually upgrade one house of darts for every town center you have. But what I'll be mostly focusing on today is the ability for persistent campaign variables that allow for your choices in one mission to affect future outcomes. This has been a fan request for a little while, the lack of which has made AoE2 campaigns, for all their other innovations and improvements, still feel a little dated, and with limited replayability. Up to now, it hasn't mattered at all how you play a campaign mission as long as you eventually cross the finish line. For the purposes of subsequent scenarios, deciding to go full Conan the Barbarian and
crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women
has exactly the same consequences as if you had done a successful pacifist run. A painstaking try-hard playthrough where you go out of your way to collect all 99 of the magic pineapples has the same net effect of 0 on future missions as a speedrun, making it less compelling to complete side quests that will become completely irrelevant once the scenario is finished, greatly limiting the narrative and gameplay significance of player choices. Fortunately, we've been given 3 new trigger effects allowing you to store, load, and delete variable-based keys in a way that can provide campaign-wide consequences and continuity for important actions. You can use this simply enough with the change variable and store key value effects once a condition is met, and access it in future missions with the load key effect. In Chronicles, this is used in a few ways that we know of so far. Firstly, to preserve your initial choice of bodyguards, which has a nice narrative aspect in that your loyal hand-picked bodyguards stay with you across the course of your campaigns. It's also used for persistent aura effects you choose for your hero units, and at least in one case as something like Karma, where you're presented with an immediate advantage if you destroy an enemy temple to lower their morale, but may suffer divine disfavor in a future mission. But given the flexibility of trigger variables, almost all branching paths of choices that are possible within a single mission may now be possible across any number of missions connected in a single campaign. For example, suppose you have a level up mechanic for a hero unit. The new Modify Variable by Attribute effect in conjunction with the Store Key Value trigger would make it convenient to preserve all stat gains made across the campaign, and encourage players not to skimp on their training. The new Modify Variable by Resource effect could likely be used in conjunction with a stored key value to carry over player resource stockpiles from one scenario mission to the next, again allowing for an impressive sense of continuity and rewarding those who like to save up for a rainy day. The net effect of these changes is to be able to create a campaign playthrough that feels a lot more individualized and with greatly increased replay value. There are many other possibilities, such as dynamic diplomacy variables that would impact how other factions viewed you based on how you had fought for or against them in previous missions, exclusive branching technological, military, or economic capabilities based on previous activities, and many other things you might think of. Now, before I wrap up, I do want to blitz through a few more things that will be of interest and benefit to creators of all kinds. The first being the expanding of supported aura effects to now include melee and pierce armor, as well as expanded conversion resistance. The second being the ability to change technology icons, which has been a personal request for a while, and now allows scenario creators to further customize their technologies without modding, including the use of icon graphics from Chronicles. Many of them, of course, are very anchored to antiquity, but some of them are generic enough to be useful for medieval technology icons. And of course, there's a variety of new eye candy graphics, including market stalls, goods, lumber, and so forth. Finally, they've added a new modding unit task called a speed charge, which will sound familiar to many viewers, as I made a video and personal mod suggesting just such a thing, with units being able to run for a short period of time, or charge when near a certain type of enemy unit, with the preference for use on slower units such as infantry and especially elephants. I haven't looked into their implementation yet, but it seems to be independent of the type of enemy unit, and I look forward to testing it out, and I assume it will make an appearance in the campaign as well. There are other notable changes, including new functionalities for excess scripting, but we'll leave it there for now. Of course, as always, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on the new features, and where you think they'd be best put to use, including what kind of carryover choices you think would be most fun and interesting for new or revamped medieval campaigns for the base game. I'd also like to hear your thoughts and opinions on the DLC generally, and what you hope or think it might portend for future installments of Chronicles, or for the base game of AoE2. That's all for today, and thanks for watching. This has been me considering the collection of creatively customizable content, from counter conversion to charge capabilities, including compounding campaign choices in Chronicles. Till next time.